In the spring of 2016, a group of eminent scholars visited Edinburgh. Their ideas are not commonly heard in Scotland, yet they were developed here during the Scots Enlightenment. The scholars discussed ideas with a group of young people who inherit an entitlement to their country's past wealth and its prospects for the future. The young panel are actors. The opinions expressed are not their own, but taken from contemporary Scotland's conversation. They express them as common sentiments, heard in public debate in order to create a response. The scholars should be seen as objectivists, seeking to describe the logical outcomes from political and economic decisions. The interests and incentives of those who make those decisions are to the fore, in line with modern economic thinking.
Is it just going to happen?
Surely we need to give a helping hand to the poorest of our nation, to get the education, to get to that step themselves, to become entrepreneurs for their own passion and their own skill.
The vast majority of people alive over the last century have been lifted up out of poverty. If we go back 100, 200 years, anyone living back in those days was living in conditions that we would consider poverty today. What has enabled it? A series of win-win interactions between people. If you and I trade means that we engage voluntarily. You offer something in exchange for something I give you. If I steal what you have, that's not a win-win, because I gain what I stole from you, but you lost it.
The old joke is, I'm from the government and I'm here to help you. It's very dangerous to suppose that a government functionary can decide whether Facebook is a good idea or not and then help out Facebook. It hasn't worked. It's not a good system.
Our reborn Parliament has awakened Scotland to freedom. They can make us a great nation.
The truth is, nobody really takes care of you. You know, I think back to my own children. My oldest is at university now, and he's doing well. And I could certainly maintain him. On the other hand, the only way that he can realize his own life is by being allowed to go and live that life on his own, to break away. So the things that I do are try to stay out of his way rather than get in his way. That doesn't mean that I don't love him, that I don't support him, that I'm not there when there's a need, and especially a healthcare need perhaps, or an education need. But it does mean that I don't try to direct his decision making. I believe in my heart of hearts that he has the ability to make better decisions about his own life than I do to make decisions for him, regardless of how much I love him. And it's interesting because does anyone really want a government who walks in front of them every step of the way? It's hard to imagine living in your parents' home until you're 50 with them always in front. Because what happens is you never develop your own ability to lead. There's something about that that's deeply concerning.
And I would say that Scotland is already a great nation.
Bravo.
And comparatively, its greatest time was the late 18th century, when it invented economics and geology, among other things. And the great exponent of this was, I always have to cross myself when I say Adam Smith, was Adam Smith, who spoke of the liberal plan of justice, equality, and freedom. And by equality, he meant equality before the law and equality of social dignity. He was a great egalitarian, Adam Smith was.
Historically, countries that have embraced a political rhetoric of national greatness have also left the largest amounts of destruction and the highest body counts.
Yeah.
If you want national greatness, focus on the flourishing of persons.
Yeah, that's right.
Our institutions exist for the flourishing of persons, not the other way around.
Yeah, that's right.
It doesn't matter if the dictator's in London or here in Scotland. The question is, are you as an individual free?
When we talk about greatness, how can we be great? Then you've assigned to we, namely the government, the job of making us great. Germany overall, it's a dangerous proposition. We're great because we're individually flourishing. And we flourish individually when we leave each other alone, and as I said, we help the poor when they need help in a way that doesn't turn them into serfs.
The only thing that the government can do to help any of us, poor, rich, middle class, is protect our freedoms.
Yeah, that's right.
Protect our rights as individuals. There's nothing special about the poor or the middle class or the rich. What is good for each one of us as an individual is freedom.
I agree.
And protect us, use the government to protect us from fraud, from violence, from theft, but otherwise leave us alone and we do great.
And invasion from England.
Yes, certainly invasion from England.
Proud Edward's power.
You know, we certainly understand that this is a scary concept. If no one's taking care of me, how will I take care of myself?
Yeah.
And every generation, every human being has been faced or confronted with that very frightening reality. Yeah. Startup companies, all these new companies that we start, it has to be framed in your mind that it's more frightening to you to not pursue it than it is to pursue greatness. But if there's fear in your heart, if you are afraid that you need someone to take care of you, first, know that no one is really going to take care of you in spite of their promises. And then determine what fear is greater. The fear of standing still, because you know what the outcome will be if you stand still, or the fear of taking risk. And if you can adjust it in your mind that the fear of taking risk is lower than the fear of standing still, it's inevitable that you'll move.
We want fairness, we want equality.
Well, you know, we want fairness, we want equality. But what we mean by equality, we've got to be very careful about. Look, inside a family, from each according to their ability, to each according to their need, is of course how it should work. If Cinderella is maltreated unfairly, we find that awful, and I do too. But in what Hayek, the great economist, called the Great Society, that is millions of people in Scotland, we can't run it as a family. Now, I know it's a very attractive image, and if it worked, I'd be all for it. And that's why I became a socialist. That's why so many people become socialists when they're 16 or 17. They discovered that there are poor people, and they say, well, look, let's do something about it. Let's open Daddy's wallet. And that, you know, you can understand that. But it's, it doesn't work. And as my colleague would say, it's immoral.
It's immoral, and so, look, we have to be careful what we mean by fairness too, not just about what we mean by equality. What does fairness mean? The left is told us that fairness equals equality, but it doesn't. Fairness means getting what you deserve.
That's right.
And even in a family, I hate to disagree, although I don't think we really do, even in a family, not everybody deserves the same, and not everybody gets the same in a family. You want to love all your children the same, but believe me, you don't. And they don't get exactly the same because some of them at different periods in their time deserve different things. Some deserve to be punished, some deserve rewards, some get A's, some get D's. We're different. And fairness means getting what you deserve. And then equality. Equality is a great concept when it's applied appropriately. Political equality. Equality before the law, equality of rights, equality of liberty. That's the meaning equality has. When you start applying equality to ideas of outcome, it means somebody has to be sacrificed for the same as somebody else. The only way to make me and LeBron James equal in basketball is to break his legs.
Yeah, that would do it.
And well, that's the only way to make me equal with Steve Jobs in wealth, is to steal his money.
Yeah.
That's sameness, not equality.
That's right. Sameness.
But that's what they're driving towards. And equality is not the appropriate concept to use there because it doesn't apply. We should not talk about equality of outcome, only in terms of equality before the law, equality of rights and liberties.
Sameness, not equality. That's an excellent note to end on.